Hi everyone, and welcome to my podcast. Today I have Drew with me, and I would love to welcome someone very young. And I think his story, when I was reading about him, I was like, you know what? Let's try to do this. It's very different because we don't have a lot of young people in my podcast, so it will be really great conversation to probably see uh, b- life in business, limiting beliefs of the person, that is entering the business very early and just really start to look how we can maybe inspire more young people, go into business, trusting themselves and overcome all those things around, when people tell you like, oh, you're too young, we can't trust you.
Mm.
And probably your business is very young as well. And you guys are just playing. And I've
Yeah.
been there because when I started business as well very early, it was
Mm.
a very different start and it's very different 25 years later, right? So people actually respect you with your age, and that's pretty tough, but it's reality. So
Mm.
I would love to talk to you about that. And of course, welcome to the podcast, Drew.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, if you can tell us a little bit about you and yeah, so like who you are, what you do, and of course
Yeah.
you can definitely tell us how old are you because I think
Yeah.
you're you can be proud.
Appreciate it, Alex. Yeah, no, look, I'm Drew Carmichael. It's great to be on here. I'm 19 years old and I've been in the business space for my entire life. Well, not entire life, but since 13 years old, I've been very, very much in business. And, the way that my family has sort of arrived in Australia when a lot of my relatives came over, it was all very 100% devoted to just building a life. And that's everything that I've sort of stood up for my entire life is building a life for myself and ensuring that the income's coming in, and then also the what I'm doing now is honestly one of my favorite things that I've ever done is having a marketing agency. And essentially what we do, we're called the cultivator, and we cultivate people's, well, businesses but also dreams by extension, because if we're able to build their business, build their income, or build what they want to do with their life, which is obviously generate money but also have their passion generating money, that is really fantastic. And it's such a great sense of achievement on my behalf, but also the people that we're working with. And no, I totally agree. And I'd love to jump into my, limiting beliefs in this podcast, because a massive limiting belief is I'm 19 and I've been doing business since I was 13. And quite frankly, um, a lot of people don't trust a 19-year-old with
Yeah.
anything, let alone their entire business. But, and that is something that I've had to overcome a fair few times. But the funniest thing is once you show people the results you can get and the results that we've gotten so far in comparison to other people or previous individuals, companies, businesses, partnerships that they've worked with before, we trump them the majority of the time. And that's just one of the things that we have to come across, but also limiting beliefs in terms of business, especially the line of work that I'm in terms of marketing and producing content and building other people's businesses, is that there is a lot of sort of self-doubt and competition, where you look at other people on social media, on the news, and especially the people that inflate their egos a lot online. You look at them and you go, wow, I don't know if I can do this. But quite frankly, and something that I've had to tell myself time and time again, is that if I don't believe in myself, who else is going to believe in myself? Like no one is going to trust someone that doubts themselves. So
Agree.
yeah, I'd love to jump into this in the podcast as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's very well said, right? Some people don't trust themselves for, 40, 50, 60 years and they go
Mm,
through life like that. And I think you as a very young person already figure all this out, right? I think that's really impressive. And thank you
mm,
so much for being here and sharing this. So I would love to know a little bit because I'm sure in your story, in starting as a 13-year-old, and I would be curious what was that when you were 30-year-old because I think there will be something that was fun. I'm
yeah.
sure I'm sure you always lived your passion. And also like what was the story? Like there was some, ups and downs. Was there
Mm.
anything that really maybe skyrocketed your business or something that was like a big setback that you need to overcome? Because I believe every business has those ups and downs.
Yeah.
So
Oh, totally. Look, Alex, there's all downs, and it depends on how you look at it really. But let me start off with me, little 13-year-old Drew. Way back then, especially for our Australian listeners, they'll know Coles, the shopping center. But for people watching overseas, it's like the Australian version of Walmart, or an Australian version of IKEA. Very, very similar, sort of more in terms of food, but um, they had little collectibles a fair few years ago, and it incentivized families to buy more groceries. And that was one of the things that I started off with. So I was actually reselling these collectibles. So a particular buyer would, every $30 they'd spend, they'd get a little collectible. And little children across Australia were going absolutely nuts about them. I quite frankly couldn't care less. But I had a massive stockpile because of course we were eating groceries and we got these collectibles for free. And everyone in Australia, we're just getting these collectibles. And I was like, well, hey, I may as well just resell these to people who are actually going crazy about them, which is what I did. I built up, collections of the 24 different types you could get, resell them to people on eBay and Facebook Marketplace for a fairly good amount of money. I think it was, I sold them for about $50 a set, which
Wow.
was, or maybe, $4 per little item. So and then after that, after we were collecting a lot from the grocery store, I actually started buying them off my friends at school. Actually, let me rephrase that. I didn't have very many friends at school.
Wonder for what? That would be so so interesting, right?
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, I wasn't buying them from these people
Yeah,
at school for that much money, because they obviously didn't know if they had collections. So I'd bring them home, I'd sort them
yeah,
out. I'd have little different boxes of all the different types of, little
I love it.
collectible things. Yeah, I know. And then resell them, go down to Australia Post, post them out. It was very much manual. It wasn't automated by any means. But honestly, I think the best way to start, especially if you've had a 9 to 5 job for ages, or you're just keen to test out different waters, is to start at something very, very low budget, low capital, bootstrap
Yeah,
yourself, and see if you got the skills and the persistence to actually make it work. And that's what I did. Little Drew was packaging up these all day, every day, putting them together and going down to Australia Post and shipping them out. And that taught me a very valuable lesson of not giving up, and just being able to do things that other people weren't even looking at doing. Like everyone was focusing on collecting them and going, "Wow, I have a collection," but no one was focusing on selling them. Um, well, apart from me and a couple of other people that joined the
yeah, yeah.
the trend. But after that, I was like, hey, that is so much work. I can't be bothered going down to Australia Post all the time. And I went into Amazon FBA. This was a very massive learning curve because it went from little Drew selling collectibles to little Drew contacting Chinese suppliers and trying to get products imported into Australia, labeled and into Amazon and then fulfilled to people across Australia. So it was a massive, massive learning curve. And, I was still in primary school at this stage. Sorry, no, I was still in middle school, senior school sort of time at this stage. And you couldn't have a PayPal account if you're under 18. I
Yeah.
don't lie to anyone. And I didn't lie to PayPal about that either. So PayPal confiscated. It was about 4 grand. It was either 4 or 6 grand. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that amount of money from me. And they said they'll give it back to me when I turned 18. So it was a great 18th birthday present, but it was a big setback, monetary setback when I was a little Drew because they just straight up just took the money from me and
Yeah.
held it. Um, so that was definitely a big challenge. And the thing that I look at when challenges present themselves to me, and honestly, quite frankly, uh, in a variety of different scales, of course, the challenges are, but they present themselves to me every day. And I just look at them and I go, yep, that happened. Great. Let's see what we can do to move on. Because there's no point sitting there and going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda done this. The shoulda, coulda,
Yeah,
woulda. That's a very Australian saying, but I always repeat it off because you can't just turn back the time. You can't go
time is
88 miles
enough.
an hour. Exactly
Yeah,
right. You can't turn into
yeah.
Marty McFly and turn back time. So, you may as well just see what you can do to move the needle forward in the situation that you're currently at.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so simple, right? So simple, and so many people dwell on, the past and what happened and what they should do better and what problem they have in front of them, but they don't look for solutions. So I love
Mm,
that you had that solution mindset all the time, looking forward and looking what is ahead, what we can do,
mm.
how we can do it better. So that's pretty impressive for, that age. So when your agency kind of came through, because you were already selling something, then walk with the Amazon, so you started to get a little bit of feel for the business. What is that?
Mm.
Selling and importing or exporting or reselling something. But what was that? Or why did you came up, or how did you came up with agency or with marketing?
Great question. So the biggest thing that I had to learn for Amazon was marketing, of course, to actually get my
Yeah,
product out there because you can't sell a secret. I tell that to everyone. You can't expect to come up with a great idea unless it's just a fantastic way to turn water into wine or a cure for cancer. No one's going to really care about it because there's so much stuff happening in the world. Everyone has their own lives. So I went from Amazon, and then Amazon did fairly well. Long story short, I don't want to dilly-dally on it for too long, but Amazon's overheads were way too much. I was doing a great amount of volume, but the margins that you're able to get out of Amazon, especially
Yeah.
when this was just before Temu started rising, just before AliExpress started to become a big thing, as the Chinese suppliers started to come into Amazon, they really sort of needled down the margins. And then because of Amazon's fulfillment fees, it became quite difficult to make good profit out of it. So I was like, all right, well, how can we learn from that, and then go on to create a brand. Because if you create a brand, you're not relying on the profit for just the first purchase. You can then extrapolate the customer's lifetime value out and make the most of it having a brand. It's very hard to create a brand solely on Amazon. So I went to Shopify from there. And that was when things really started kicking off. I had a really, really good interior design sort of homewares business that sold those universe projectors that were trending, those sunset lamps that were trending. That lamp behind me there that did a really, really huge amount of volume. It's a speaker, charger, lamp for a
Yeah.
bedside table. It was fantastic, and that really attracted a lot of attention from people because they saw that we were doing great volume. We saw that we were sort of knocking out competition, and they were like, "Hey, Drew, can you actually run my website for me?" So that was
So
sort of naturally the progression came from there, and I went, oh, I have two clients already. So that sort of started the agency model. And from there, we've sort of refined the name. The first name I had for it was absolutely terrible. It was Vital, Vytal. And I have a method of just not sticking around on trying to come up with a name for things because you may as well just start making money. And then if the name's bad, just change it later. Like you can put up with it might be a little
I
bit of work
agree.
to change the registration or change the, you know,
Yeah.
invoices and stuff, but just start making money. So I did. The first name was my name, Drew C. Marketing, which I sort of wanted to take away from my personal
Yeah,
name.
of course.
The
Yeah.
next name was Vital, so it's Vytal, and the spelling was sort of hard. If I told someone, oh, it's Vital, they'd spell it with an
Okay.
I, of course.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, this is just the stupidest thing. So we've changed it to the Cultivator, and that is what we're working on now, and it's going fantastic. We've gotten the same results consistently. Just essentially good results
Yeah.
consistently. And
Uh,
we treat people genuinely because I've had these businesses before. We treat them as the business as their child, as their passion.
yeah.
And not many marketing agencies, especially when they get to larger levels, marketing agencies tend to just treat clients like a number. And you know what? Numbers are scalable. You can add one to a number and that adds it up, obviously, which is how they got to do it. But our model's a little bit different in terms of treating our clients like pods. But anyway,
I
that's a
love
bit of a
that.
culmination of how the agency started. It was a very,
Yeah.
very smooth progression on
Yeah, I love
scaling
it.
up.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's very natural. And I think that's there are probably two things. First of all, I love how naturally you basically did what you were good at because
Mm.
at Amazon, like if you want to actually sell something on Amazon, you have to have the best marketing copy basically, right? So
Mm.
you need to actually stand out because there's millions and millions of the same items, but you were able to sell. So I think that's the one thing that says that you probably have some kind of gift, your
Yeah.
genius
Well,
zone, or something that actually makes you to be really great, maybe in communication or languaging,
mm.
the product or service value. So I think that's what makes really truly marketing great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look,
Yeah,
Alex, it's funny. I don't talk about Amazon much, but I just wanted to quickly say, because Amazon was a little while ago,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's funny with Amazon and with marketing entirely, it just comes down to common sense. What we did on Amazon was, and we by mean myself and a Filipino VA, even changing the profile photo at the start, we were testing backgrounds between the massage gun. We were selling massage gun in front of green or massage gun
Yeah,
in front of blue. And we were like, oh, was it green or blue that was performing the best? And even that small detail actually managed to push the needle a
it
bit
changed.
further.
It's
Mm,
it's amazing, and I think that's where you like that shows me that you learned something, right?
mm,
Like through that progress or process. I think because it's so hard, right? Like when somebody's selling the same lamp or same product, and
mm,
it's other, thousands of people selling the same thing, you really truly need to stand out. And now,
mm,
when you translate it into marketing, because especially now, probably in this age of noise, right? Everyone is doing the same thing. And honestly, like we are, for example, scraping away, like we want to go away from the social media. We have good followers, we have good numbers there, we have some, nice interaction, but who cares? I feel
Yep.
like almost like the digital world became something that is, like you said, like this is the ego, and it's just like this big thing, and I'm a millionaire, I'm the best. And it's just, that's not real competition, that's not
Mm,
reality, and it's so many times it's a lie. So I feel like
mhm.
it's really hard to stand out there. So I believe, having the agency that is managing good results in a digital world, I think that's really extraordinary
Look,
because it's hard.
yeah, and the thing that I truly believe in is just honesty. And even when you're honest, sometimes it doesn't turn out for the best, or it maybe
Yeah.
it does turn out for the better, but it might not necessarily be successful. Do you sort of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for example, I was honest to PayPal, and I told PayPal, "Hey,
Yeah. Didn't
you
give me
know,
money.
exactly. If I wanted to keep my money, I'd just try and lie and say that I'm over 18, which probably wouldn't have gotten too far, but I still, it might have worked, but I just said, look, I'm not.
Mm,
And even though that did result in six-ish grand getting taken away from me until I'm 18, it resulted in just not any further legal fees, no further legal issues. I just was 100% honest.
yeah.
And we're always honest with our clients because even though it might result in a bit of a tough situation in the short term, it'll end up being a bigger positive in the long term because we can solve the issue as it presents itself, and then it just works out for the better. I've dealt with marketing agencies before that try and tell me that nothing's wrong right now, but it has a snowball effect from the little issue that they probably should have told me, and then it ends up in a bigger issue later. And if they told me 3, 4 weeks before, that would have totally been fine. And this is going
Mm,
back to the shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality. You
okay.
should have told me, you could have told me. Would you have told me? Well, we probably can't worry about it now, but just got to be honest. And that really goes a long way in business.
Yeah, I'm curious I have a lot of questions around marketing, but let's
Yeah.
focus on more. Okay, so what is the thing, maybe believe, or the things that you had to let go of, to
Mm,
move forward or on your journey of, being business owner so young?
mm. Look, a lot of it is the thing that has really held me back, and it's going to be tough to explain here, but the the fact of the matter is sitting here right now going, yes, I'm 19, and everyone that I'm in competition with is 38, and I go, oh, that's pretty much double my age, and that in itself is an excuse, saying that you know what, I can just leave it and chill out. But quite frankly, on the same token, I've waived the ability to go to university. I mean, I still can, but I got a bunch of scholarships after graduating school. So I've sort
Mm,
of said, you know what, scholarships, no thanks. I'll focus on the agency. So it's a double-edged sword that in itself. But one of those
mm,
biggest beliefs, a lot of people say, wow, you're so successful for 19, and I go, yeah, great. You know what I mean? Well,
yeah.
I'm playing in the same world as 38-year-olds. So in all honesty, every business is going to go and say, hey, should I go with the cultivator or ABC business? So the cultivator is run by a 19-year-old. This business is run by a 38-year-old. They don't see the age at the start. So that limiting belief of me sitting here going, I have plenty of time, I really had to get away from because it really eliminates the drive if you keep telling yourself you got plenty of time. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I believe that can be true, but also there's the other side that
mm,
naturally you're progressing. So almost
mm,
when you let go of, all attachment, I need to be better and successful and grow and fast.
mm,
I feel like it's coming naturally because it is something that you have as a skill. So it's great that you're cultivating your skill and you
mm,
actually following something that is right now true to yourself. It's
mm,
marketing, it's agency. Maybe in 5 years it will be something else. You don't know. I think it's a progress in life that
mm,
the I think the passion changes, over time as
mm,
well. So I'll be
mm.
curious that what will happen in 5 years' time anyway, because I think it's awesome that we can change, right? Or we change. That's the
Yeah.
amazing.
No, I respect that 100%. And look, I think, yeah, maybe I could refine what I was saying in terms of the the age issue by comparing myself to someone double my age because, you know,
Yeah.
having to let go as well of what a typical 19-year-old would be doing. And that is university. I don't
And
go out
that's the big
partying.
one, right? And
Yes,
that's the big one,
exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
where's the playtime?
exactly.
where's the friends going for drinks, right? Like
Mm,
I don't know, or whatever, your schoolmates do, or
mm,
someone that you were growing up with. So I think that's the big one, right? When you're
mm,
looking at what you need to let go of, because you're smart, like you know that there are limiting beliefs and they are just in our mind. But I think there is more emotional part of us
mm,
that maybe sometimes wants to play, right?
mm,
Or wants to go back to normal. And I think, yeah, that's a big thing. How do you
mm.
feel about that?
I mean, I've spent so long just telling myself it doesn't matter that I just frankly just don't even consider it. Like I don't if a Friday night comes around, I just don't even consider that that's a night to party. I
Mm,
you know it just doesn't nothing occurs to me.
yeah.
And I'm not I don't can't complain. I'd much prefer to have a very formal just time to discuss it with people that I respect, people that value my time. And I said this to someone the other day, um, I don't I don't like just going out and this is a funny one, coming back to, relationships and stuff. I don't think it's a great use of my time going out with someone that I've just met who doesn't value my time. And that's an interesting belief that I have right now, and I'm obviously going to work on it. But I just the only people that I like spending time with are people that value my time as well. So if I've just met someone, I'm not sure, if we have mutual respect, it's very tough for me to validate going out with them or going to spend time with them for a nice dinner or something like that if I'm not 100% sure that they value my time because, there are definitely people in the world that do.
Yeah. Okay. So that is something I believe that you will, experience all the time. And I
Mm,
honestly, I didn't even probably evaluated if people value my time when I was young, when I
mm,
was much younger. So I'm thinking when I'm looking at that through this lens of, being 47 and
mm,
looking at life from this perspective, I can tell you there is something more probably. Maybe just don't try to work on that limiting belief or limit, but
mm,
look at that. It's not about people valuing my time. It's about being connected and feeling connected to people.
mm,
Because how amazing is when you sit with someone and you feel comfortable, you feel great, and you are
mm,
challenging each other, and you have great discussion and conversation, and you share love and
mm,
connection. So I'm looking for emotions on
mm,
actually connections with other people. So I think that's,
mm.
another thing that maybe don't expect people value your time, but expect if you feel like there is a connection or not. I think that's really.
Yeah, that's a very good point actually, because I some of our clients I've worked with for a year or two now. And well, I only started the agency a year ago. But anyway, in that time, we've gotten some great results. But the
Yeah.
clients that I've been working with for the longest, we genuinely do catch up in person and,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
have that genuine
Yeah.
conversation because, being part of their business, because that's what we are. We're part of their business, helping them get sales, helping them generate leads and move their needle forward. And, we get a definite sort of connection, like you were saying,
Yeah.
because, we can't act like robots forever.
No, of
We can't
course.
just talk numbers the whole time because we're humans, right?
Yeah.
And, it's funny. I have a very, very close client. He lives on the Gold Coast, and we just catch up every time I'm down on the Gold Coast. And, we just spend time. We get extra hot Nando's, even though I can't even deal with mild Nando's. I just sit there, my eyes are watering, and I'm just like, you're getting great sales. Anyway, so no, 100%. I love having connections with people on that level that you were talking about. Yeah, and honestly, it's a great way to do business because
I think it's the best way to do business.
yeah,
Honestly, I think I can tell you that through the time of the business or having experience in business, yeah, of course it was at the beginning when I started, it was more, exchange, right? Because
mm,
you're a client, you're working for clients, you give them results. But on the way, I realized that I want to choose who I want to spend time with. So I
mm,
choose who my client is, and if there is no connection, I can't do it because it's
mm,
it's draining, right? Because you want to be with people, they lift your energy, they
mm,
inspire you, they make you better person, better
mm,
human. And I love it when my clients actually challenge me back, right? So it's
mm,
kind of both sides challenge. So it's really, really important. And I think that's the future of the business in general. I think it's coming back to, relationships and connections. And I think
mm,
more and more people understand that. So hopefully that will be part that will influence the marketing sides as well. So I'm looking forward to it. But
Yeah.
I want to know, Drew, because you are so driven, right? And you exchange all your fun party time and friends time for being, in business, being
Mm.
switched on, having healthy brain, being awake, not being, hangover and just experience setbacks because you're very aware that you want something, right? Or you want to
Mm.
grow somewhere. So I would like to know what it is. What is that you keep what's keep you going? What is inspiring you? What is there in your mind that says like I'm not going to party, I want this?
Oh, I appreciate that question. Thank you, Alex. So what is in my brain that is keeping me going? Well, there's a couple of things. One is the past, and the other one is the future. So the past being my family that have spent their time to bring me to a stage where I am at now. So that's on my mum's side. Her family came over from Europe just after the Second World War, and they went through some very, very tough times because they were in Slovenia and they had to move around and escape certain camps and come to Australia and really
Where,
build that.
where is your
Pardon me?
mom from? Where your mom is from Slovenia or Slovakia?
Slovenia.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'm from Slovakia, so that's why
Oh, there
I'm
you go. There you go.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, their last name's Pahavic. It doesn't matter. But
Oh, that's awesome.
um, sorry. Yeah, no, they came to Australia and it was super, super tough for them. They had to build a railway across the northern area of Australia, and they had to really build up from scratch pretty much because they had to immigrate to Australia, and that they literally do all their effort there for their family and to raise their family here. And just over the past few days, my mum's mother passed away, which is quite unfortunate. And I had to do a speech at the funeral, but it was fantastic to be able to catch up with her family that went through those hardships, and we were able to exchange stories. And that is one of the biggest things that is driving me right now to make them proud, to make their whole journey worth it, and to keep it going forward. And that honestly, I'm not going to say it puts pressure, but it just is that, like you said before, the connection that we have with these people,
I love that.
to not to make them feel validated, and to honestly just spark up that fire inside me. The next part of that as well is how it comes in the future. So, raising a future family and being in a comfortable position for them to be able to live the best life they can. And quite frankly, also I want to be able to show them the world and
Yeah,
potentially visit where the family's from.
of course.
One
Yeah.
half of my family's from Scotland, the other one's from Slovenia there, and yeah, it would be fantastic to be able to go over there and also raise the family. So two sides of those stories, the past and the future, definitely keeps me going. But it. I'd love to hear a bit about your family if you'd like to share. But
I just love, honestly, thank you so much for asking. I just love what you said because
mm,
it's so different, right? Like when you look inside, so many people don't think about that, but being grateful for where you are at, and of course, parents and your
mm,
strength and combination of all that. There's so many people I know they immigrated from, the Slovakia, Slovenia, Czech Republic,
mm,
Germany, and all different countries, especially during the or after the war. And it's interesting how not often you actually hearing or not, you're not hearing almost never, right? That people
mm,
are motivated to make it worth, and make parents proud and say, you know what, like this all suffering and
mm,
the fear that we had to experience, when we try to escape. And I can't even imagine, honestly, when I heard stories like that, I always say like it's amazing. You guys are so brave, right? Like amazing that
mm,
they did something for the future family. And I love that stick with you as well, that stick with you for your future family.
mm.
And that's just so beautiful, because we should all think when we are 19, 20, 25 about that, but we don't.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best child. I was still in university when I was 24, or 19 or 25, I finished, but it's yeah, it's just it's beautiful. No, I really love that. And I love that you have the drive and it just makes sense. It just totally makes sense, to look at your journey and see why you do things. So
Mm.
it's
There
beautiful
was
motivation, definitely.
Yeah, it's always good to talk with them as well because being able to really relate to your relatives, and it was a really, really special past few days being able to be up there. And, it's really unfortunate that everyone comes together for a funeral
Yeah,
because,
I know. Oh
uh,
my, yeah,
that is tough. But, on the same token, it's great to be able to exchange those stories. And, I'm 100% interested in where the families come from. And you just see their eyes light up, when you talk to the relatives and you go, oh, where was this again? And they go, oh, you know what I mean? And it's
yeah.
so awesome to see. And you just get that feeling inside you that you go, geez, I don't want to let these people down. I
Yeah.
think, we just got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, love those moments and
Mm,
love your reason and your why. That's amazing.
mm,
So, okay, so before we jump off, I would love to talk more about this because I think it's such a great to connect on a human being level, right? Like we
mm.
don't talk
Oh,
about business only because you can have different businesses, basically doesn't matter if you have five different service-based businesses or you have the construction and building business, but
mm,
it's what truly matters to me is a human being behind the business
mm.
and a human being that has real why, and it's not just getting rich, right? Because
Yeah.
it's awesome to be rich. I'm not saying that it's not. It's awesome to have money and having the freedom they sometimes can bring, especially in decision making.
Mm,
But also, all that brings, different problems and issues. So people usually don't think about that. But I love that your motivation is more than that, it's to set
mm.
up the family and future life for your family, for your future family. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's such a beautiful, I guess it's a beautiful end. But I would like to know if there is anything that you see in marketing as a future, or how is marketing land changing? Because for me, that's, it's very much fast growing industry.
Mm.
And yeah, so what is your take on that? Like what's next? What do you think?
Totally. Yeah, look, the marketing industry is so vast, and us at the Cultivator, we focus on scaling Shopify businesses or e-com businesses, and
Yeah.
also service-based businesses, like you mentioned. So that's like appointment-based
Yeah.
consulting or
Mhm.
something along those lines. So across those two very vast industries, we obviously have a look at where things are going. We focus a lot on right now and how we can make changes to their current systems and improve that with the quickest results. But over the next few months, there is going to be so many developments in artificial intelligence, and everyone obviously that's common sense. And realistically, a lot of what we do with marketing is common sense because that's just common sense.
Yeah.
And we really do feel that right now we have to make every single system or every single thing that we have online as optimized for Google search results as possible because Google's training their Gemini system. So as you've just seen, VO3's come out very, very recently with some incredible video
Mm.
generation systems that has
Amazing.
absolutely just thrown OpenAI's Sora out the window. And that whole system, Google's Gemini system, is getting trained off Google data. So if we're able to make all of our websites that we're producing as optimized for Google as possible, then it will be showing up in results for AI. In terms of OpenAI, which is obviously ChatGPT, we've actually had a few sales through ChatGPT straight. So someone's gone on ChatGPT, they've searched for something, and then they've bought from ChatGPT. So, they've used ChatGPT to access the website and they bought. So I feel like that's going to be coming very, very soon as well, being able to buy directly on ChatGPT because people are using it as a search engine.
I love
Um,
it.
so
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out OpenAI's documentation because there is a way to sign up for an early access to their merchant system. So then you can sell your products directly on ChatGPT. That is going to go crazy because a lot of systems and a lot of AI
Mm.
um, just softwares or SaaS products, software as a service that you find online, utilizes OpenAI's API. So they didn't build their own AI. They're just utilizing ChatGPT effectively, and they're
Yeah.
just paying a little bit per token. And that means that if you're able to get ChatGPT to work really, really well for your business or able to get your business into ChatGPT, which we've done for a couple,
Yeah.
your business will then be showing on all of these other systems that are using the OpenAI model.
Yeah.
Is it O4 Mini or something like that? So that is something we're really focusing on as well because it's
Yeah.
a really funny way to just jump into the back end of uh, these other softwares that are using ChatGPT's API.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love that. And yeah, because we did like a few GPTs, we programmed that, and I was thinking, wow, like now it's actually part of our process and part
Yeah,
of programs that people can just, go and talk to ChatGPT and it's exactly tailored to the
yeah.
conversation. And it's
Mm,
actually working really well. It's amazing. Like it's the conversation that I can have with clients, but also they can do it as a homework and they feel like they have conversation and it's actually creating same results. So it's actually really beautiful.
mm,
So, what is your kind of last maybe message for anyone who is starting business or anyone who is actually very young and wants to start business? Do you have any
mm.
words and maybe something that will help them to, stay trusting themselves, I guess? That would
Look,
be
that is the biggest thing. So to anyone who's starting a business, and if you're young, the biggest thing you need to do is make sure every day you are persistent and you're making a little change. Because if you do something many, many times in your business, for example, you try and post the same content on social, I know you didn't like social media, Alex, but I'll use this as an example.
still
If you
using
try
it.
and, if you try and post the same thing on social media for many days in a row, hoping to gain your following, you post like an same day with similar content for a month and you go, oh, nothing changed. Well, that's because you didn't change. And the definition, I'm sorry to say this, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. So that is something we find that a lot of younger people have an issue with their business, just doing the same thing, hoping that something will change, but you
Yeah.
actually just got to change something either probably not in
Yes.
yourself, maybe in yourself, in your beliefs, in what you think that needs to work, but also
Yeah.
just changing your output on what you're producing, your marketing content. And also try and start with if you're just starting a business, if you've never had business experience, or if you've been in a business, great, but you need that experience of being the head guy trying to work everything out. Um, just start with something as low capital as possible. If someone goes, hey, how much money do I need to start an advertising campaign?
Yeah.
I go, well, how long's a piece of string? You know what I mean? So you need to know your ticket size that you're selling or you're trying to produce, and then just try and start working out the amount of ROAS, so return on ad spend, that you need to produce it. Doing research on Facebook ads library. There are so many different free tools that you can utilize. Maybe Koala Inspector, which if you want to snoop out other stores, I could go on and on and on for different ways that someone could start up for really, really cheap. But realistically, the biggest thing is just to have a go and try and start with the lowest capital possible.
Yeah.
Honestly, if someone wants to start a store or something that's fairly cheap, just get in contact with me. I always just have people popping up in my messages all the time going, hey, Drew, how do I do this thing? I never see them again as well, but I just tell them like, hey, this will probably help.
Perfect.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so yeah,
mm,
I may have some people that I can connect you with as well. So, some of my clients or some people they are in my circle. So
fantastic.
I'll be happy to help as well and see because there's a lot of people in different areas. And one of my clients has also he started actually e-commerce as well. And
Mm,
I'm not basically I do all the business structure and stuff like that, but I don't do the marketing in the
mm.
details. So there will be something definitely for them. So thank you so much for sharing. That's absolutely great, and thank you so much for your inspirational story.
No
And
worries, Alex.
where people can find you, what is the best way to connect with you?
Look, honestly, I'm sure you're going to put stuff in the bio here, Alex, but just look me up on Google. That's probably the easiest way. Drew Carmichael. I'll show up there. Or check out my socials. That's by Drew C. BYDREW, the letter C. And I'll pop up on any platform, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. You'll be able to find me pretty much any corner of the internet. I'm a serial internet person. I don't know. But
We'll just find you. You're digital. That's it.
yeah. No, I really appreciate it. Yeah. So
Perfect.
yeah, just reach out anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much, Drew. And for everyone who is listening, thank you so much for being here today with us. And I hope you get some great or got some great inspirational moments and the journey of Drew. And I hope you will be able to connect with him. I will share everything, of course, in the bio, in description of the podcast. So if you want to find some links, you'll be able to find Drew on his socials. Thank you so much.
Thank you.